Now, the Democratic Alliance in Ekurhuleni has filed a motion of no confidence in Executive Mayor Mzwandile Masina. This is the second time the mayor has faced such action, having survived the first attempt at his removal some 3 years ago. The DA says he's failed to deliver services for residents. The electricity supply has been erratic, made worse by load shedding, with some residents going without power for up to 16 days at a time. Other issues include potholes and the lack of refuse removal by the council. Now, the ANC is governing the council in coalition with the African Independent Congress, the PAC, and the Independent Ratepayers Association. The DA's caucus leader, Tania Campbell, joins us now for more on the story. Tania, thanks very much for your time this morning. Just to set things straight from the get-go, the motion has been submitted to the Speaker. You're still waiting for a response on whether it can happen during a secret ballot?
Good morning. Yes, on Tuesday we submitted the motion documents through to the Speaker's office. We received a email from the Speaker stating that she would not be able to call a fiscal meeting because of COVID. However, we are of the opinion that an online meeting can be called and that there are definite systems in place for a secret ballot to take place for the motion of no confidence.
Tania, the issues raised by the DA on why Mzwandile Masina is failing as executive mayor in Ekurhuleni, they're quite similar to the ones raised back in 2018 during that first motion of no confidence, which of course he survived. I mean, is that for us to understand that even in those 3 years, nothing has changed in the material conditions of people living there?
In actual fact, it's worsened. Service delivery at the moment is all-time low. There are it's a battle to get services delivered to our communities. Just for example, last night, one of the informal settlements in our area, Caucus, has got a fire. To try and get DEMS out to assist is an impossibility because they don't have a budget left for this year. So if you just take a thing like this that really affects people's lives, that DEMS cannot assist anybody that has in an informal settlement where there are fires, which is tragic. These are people who are destitute, the poor of the poor who really need assistance, and not even that can be delivered through to the communities. Electricity is another absolute disaster at the moment, where power outages are absolutely plaguing our city. Solid waste has been an absolute nightmare where for weeks on end there were areas that were not collected. There's also a SIU report out on the mayor, which is under investigation from the President's office. So it is a whole host of failure of service delivery at the moment.
You're talking about that Tuk Tuk project that was meant to set up small businesses to help with refuse collection. It's now the subject of an SIU investigation?
Correct, it is. A SIU investigation has been lodged from the President's office through to Ekurhuleni. At our last council meeting, we wanted information. Questions were asked for further information on the Tuk Tuk saga, but because it is under investigation, the Speaker could not give us any further clarity on how far it is and what is happening with the investigation itself.
So insofar as taking all of these challenges to the mayor himself, I mean, I'm sure he has a team of people keeping him up to speed on the various challenges happening in his city. What's his response been so far in terms of his discussions with opposition parties?
Well, there aren't any discussions. He avoids our phone calls. We have asked for a meeting on various occasions. I myself have a team and an exco, and he refused to see my team. He said that he would only see me. We don't operate in that kind of environment. As we all have our teams with our specialists, and one would think that he has specialists on his teams, but it seems that his MMCs are also missing in action. It has been a huge challenge getting hold of the city manager. He also had written a memorandum that came from his office to all heads of departments not to speak to any or communicate with any of the opposition councillors. Now, we had written to the Premier's office, the DA councillors, we compiled a petition through to the Premier's office. However, we are not getting any cooperative response from the Premier's office because he feels that there isn't a problem. Now, if you're not getting feedback from the departments to the councillors, it makes it very challenging for our councillors to communicate the information to the communities. And that is what we are there for, is to communicate this information to communities so that they know what is happening, specifically when it comes to power outages or water outages, that type of thing. And we are being stifled at every point that we get to.
I mean, at what point do you escalate these kinds of incredibly serious concerns to the provincial government and to the Gauteng Premier?
Once we have exhausted all our communications with the internal structures of Ekurhuleni, for instance, trying to get hold of the mayor, trying to get hold of the city manager or any of the officials, the MMCs, and we are being stonewalled, we then have to approach the Premier's office for assistance and guidance. If we do not get any joy from the Premier's office, we then have to escalate it through to Parliament, to Caucus, which we now have done as well. We have sent it through to Caucus for investigation, and we are waiting to see. On our legislative structures, our provincial leader, Solly Msimanga, has also raised it in a member statement last week. And once again, the answers that we are getting is that, there is no problem in Ekurhuleni. However, if there was no problem in Ekurhuleni, you wouldn't have the outcry from the public that there is at the moment due to non-service delivery.
If we are not... Yeah, go ahead, Tania. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, if we're not successful on all the platforms that are available to us, we will have to look at going the legal route, because the Constitution does protect us, and also the MFMA does protect us.
In terms of, before secret ballots, parties that are lodging the secret ballot motion often know ahead of time whether or not it will receive support from other parties. I suppose this is also why you're pushing for a secret ballot, even though it will happen online. Do you know at this stage the kind of support you might get?
Well, what we haven't garnered the support as yet, because we first have to get the authorization from the Speaker's office. She is the custodian of council. And once she declares, because when you put a motion of no confidence in, you've got 14 days to declare a special council meeting. If she had to declare the special council meeting, then we would garner our support from the various opposition parties. Why we have asked for a secret ballot is because the parties that are in coalition with the ANC are under contract with them, and it will then give them an avenue to vote with their conscience and vote with what is what is good for the communities out there, And also there are a lot of ANC councillors themselves who are not happy with what is happening, However, if it's not a secret ballot, then they will be open for discipline if they go against their party structures. So the secret ballot basically gives the openness of parties to be able to vote for what they stand for and what they believe in.
Tania Campbell, thanks very much for your time this morning on the AM Report. She is the DA's caucus leader in Ekurhuleni, the mayor in Ekurhuleni, Mzwandile Masina, facing a second motion of no confidence since 2018. That's a developing story that we're tracking for you right here on the channel.